Hello, Teacher Katie here. So today I'm going to do a video on the new-ish review system that we have to leave students at the end of a lesson. So this is fairly new to Qkids. We've had it out for a couple months now, and they have asked us to start leaving feedback for our students, which I think is great. However, there's a lot of controversy that I'm finding on all of the Facebook groups, and I kind of wanted to make a video to just give my method that I use. Couldn't think of the word there. To just give my method. I try to follow 3 basic rules while I am doing my reviews. So the first rule that I try to follow is to be fair, which sounds really simple, right? To be fair. For me, that means to not see this student's previous performance from another teacher and bring that into this current class. I found myself, when the reviews first started coming out, I found myself clicking and checking their grades from the last class, and if a kid had a B or a 2-star for participation or not able to follow, and I was just a little bit uncertain of how to approach them as a student. I found myself doing that for the first couple weeks that the reviews started, and then I realized I've had so many students who would have a B or a C even from another teacher, and they were amazing for me. So be fair. If you see that they did not have an excellent grade from their previous teacher, do not pull that into your lesson. Give them a fresh start. And I've actually kind of stopped looking at those grades altogether unless I'm like curious about a student. But remember to be fair. My second rule that I try to follow while doing my reviews on my students is to be mindful. That's a very broad word, but what I mean, to be mindful of the fact that we are dealing with children for 30 minutes. We do not have these students every day, unless you're one of those teachers who have recurrent students. That's awesome. But for most teachers with Qkids, we do not have these students every day. We do not get to see how they are growing. We don't know what lesson they had before. We don't know if they're just having an off day. And I don't want to completely destroy them on that review, because then when they go to take their next lesson, if they see that, that might tear them down. I kind of try to look at it as, with my daughter, every day that she goes to pre-K, they have nap time, and my daughter does not like nap time. And I have to remind her every single day, you have to stay on your nap mat because you cannot be disruptive to your friends. Just lay there, close your eyes, and use your imagination. I mean, I will come up with some crazy fun stuff, like just close your eyes and pretend you're riding a unicorn. It's amazing. But anything that I can. And I can honestly tell you that the days that I do not drill this into her head before she goes to school, she will come home with a note in her notebook from her teacher saying, disruptive at nap time. No smiley face, no sticker, disruptive. And we've got the marble jar and the candy reward system. So when I'm teaching these classes, sometimes I just got to tell myself, maybe their mom did not remind them to sit on their nap mat today. It happens. So try to be understanding to their situation, understanding to what might be going on in their adorable, childlike mind right now. So when I have a kid come in who is just not having it that day, I am going to do everything I can to get them to participate. Spend an extra minute. I know that's a minute you're taking away from the other students, but if that could improve your class significantly, that is a well-spent minute. So I'll try to sit there and talk to him. Well, what happened? You know, would a sticker help? Do you want to see my Elsa doll? Oh man, the girls love the Elsa doll. She's really cool. Wait, I'm gonna show her. She's got a my daughters. I know. I steal their toys all the time. But I'll just try to kind of figure out, especially if they're older and they understand a little bit more English, they can talk to you and explain, hey, I just didn't have a good day. Okay, well, why don't you take a break and, you know, you raise your hand when you're ready to jump in. Try to help them into that A and those 3 stars and that ability to follow. Be mindful of these are children, they have bad days too, and they may have brought that into your lesson, and that's okay. Don't let it hinder them from succeeding in their next lesson or feeling good about their next lesson with the next teacher. And the third rule that I like to follow is to be honest in my review. Be honest about how my student did. And that is really kind of taking into consideration all three categories that we have in our review. So the three categories are an overall A, B, or C grade, a participation of 1 to 3 stars, and an ability to follow. I have very rarely given lower than an A or less than 3 stars because typically for my students, that has not been the issue. For me, I find a lot of students have actually just had a harder time following the material. What I mean by that is I have a student who is participating. They're trying really hard. They are repeating after me, but they're just not quite remembering the words, or they don't know the review words, which means they probably just jumped into a lesson that was above their level. So they are working to the best of their ability, but their ability is just not quite where it needs to be for that level. So I find myself really looking at each 3 of those categories and finding out, okay, where is this student actually fitting in? So those are my 3 rules. That is how I typically will base my ratings. And this is your class. You are free to rate how you see fit. The guidelines are set there from Qkids, and that is my interpretation of them for my classes. It's been working well so far, and honestly, whatever works for you. I'm not here to judge how you rate your students. That is your classroom. Now, for the one-on-ones, I love the one-on-ones. I actually like reviewing the one-on-ones. I like to tell the parents or the students what they did good on and what they maybe need some improvement on. So my best advice for this, you're gonna follow those 3 basic rules. Be fair, be mindful, be honest. And when it comes to actually typing out their reviews on how they did, I do the compliment sandwich because the compliment sandwich is amazing. I had years of experience as a personal trainer, and as a personal trainer, we do the compliment sandwich. You did this so well. Now, what we could work on, what we could improve is this. And follow it up with keep up the good work on this part. So I really enjoy writing out those reviews for students, especially when I've had just a really fun class. I'll start that off I had so much fun with Amy today in class. Amy was such a joy. She was very cheerful and energetic. She was excited to come to class. I mean, I'll really pack it on there. And I know I've had a few people reach out on Instagram asking hey, I just don't know what to write for these reviews. That's a great way to start. It doesn't have to be anything long or complicated. So I hope you all enjoyed listening to me explain how I go about rating or reviewing my students. If you have any tips that you like, any suggestions that you'd like to leave other teachers, please feel free to send them in the comments, and I'd love to hear how you go about it. So if you have any questions, please find me on Instagram at qkids.katie. You can comment here, and thanks for watching. Happy teaching. I'm gonna see 1-to-1 student.